Let's go to the front of the Australian. We'll switch gears a bit here, Caleb, get into a little bit of federal politics, the Labor Party fighting, killing itself over coal at the moment, and then we'll go back and have a look at what's going on with this particular story, this pandemic. It's not you, it's us. ALP warrior warns of split. Joel Fitzgibbon has warned Labor could split into two separate parties if it fails to bring together its working class and socially progressive supporter bases, as Anthony Albanese faces ongoing destabilisation triggered by concerns he will not bring the party to the political centre. Mr Fitzgibbon, one of the most influential members of the Labor caucus, raised the prospect of a split similar to the anti-communist breakaway of the Democratic Labor Party in the 50s, and admitted he did not know how the party could reconcile the growing divergence of its supporters. Excuse me. Now, Caleb, I had Graham Richardson on my show yesterday, excuse me, and he said that as far as he was concerned, unless the Labor Party, the Federal Labor Party, embraced the coal movement, and we saw what happened in central Queensland and North Queensland at the last election, the way in which traditional miners deserted the party in droves. Richo said unless they were embraced, the Labor Party would never win another election in this country.
Well, I hope that's not the Rona tickling your throat there, Gleeson. But the problem for Joel Fitzgibbon is that he is a principled man. And he's standing up for the party he joined, which is the Workers' Party, the Australian Labor Party. There's no coincidence that it's called the Labor Party. It is meant to represent, to stand up for the workers, and it was fundamentally built on the union movement. And the problem for the ALP, the biggest problem the ALP has, as Joel has outlined, is that the chasing of the Green vote, which came along, the Greens Party came along and sort of splintered that leftist vote, because in the past you didn't really have much choice. If you were a leftist, you had to vote for the ALP. The Greens came along and took a chunk of the ALP that were never really ALP people, but had to vote for them anyway. And then the Labor Party, or a certain section of it anyway, has tried to chase that vote back. And in doing so, they stray further and further from what the ALP is meant to be about, and that is jobs and workers. And the day that the ALP as a whole loses sight of what its purpose is, about why its constitution was written, about why it was established, about its links to the union movement, then it will cease to be the ALP. It will no longer be the Workers' Party, and that will send it into oblivion. As you say, I mean, we saw in Queensland at the last federal election, when we thought we were going to have a federal Labor government, almost everyone was saying it, and almost single-handedly, Queensland turned that election because it was about jobs and it was about workers. And if the ALP can't get that through their heads, and if they can't do something about that, Joel Fitzgibbon is quite right. They will split and it will hurt them, and they will never form government again.
And of course, Scott Morrison, he'll be erecting a statue of Dr. Bob Brown in the North Queensland seat of Clermont. The Bob Brown convoy certainly crystallised debate in that particular part of the world.